Today, we're going to dive into a pretty simple idea that could totally change how you communicate at work. And it's all about mastering that first 60 seconds. Seriously, it's about making sure your message actually lands with clarity and impact every single time. So let's get right into it.
Just think about that for a second. What if you could make every meeting, every email, even just a quick chat in the hallway, instantly clear and way more effective? And all of that within the first minute. You know, it sounds kind of like a superpower, right? But it's actually a skill, and it's one we can all learn.
Because, let's be real, how often does a conversation just fall apart before it even gets going? We've all been in that meeting where, in that first minute, you can just feel the confusion setting in. It's such a common problem, especially when the stakes are high. But don't worry, we're going to look at a few tools to fix that. All right, first up, we've got something called the framing formula. This is all about steering the conversation exactly where you want it to go right from the very first word you say. It's a surprisingly simple technique, but man, it is powerful. So, what exactly is framing? Well, think of it as a way to create instant clarity. Instead of just jumping in and hoping for the best, you're setting the stage. You immediately tell everyone, hey, this is what we're talking about, this is what I need from you, and here's the most important thing you need to know. It just cuts out all the guesswork from the get-go.
And the formula itself? It couldn't be simpler. It's just 3 parts. First, context. That's the what. You say, we're here to talk about Project X. Second, intent. That's the why. I need a decision from you on this today. And finally, the key message, the absolute core. We are going to miss a critical milestone. Boom. Just by putting that right up front, you've made the whole conversation 1,000 times more efficient.
Okay, let's move on to our second tool. Now, this one is for those moments where you have to explain something kind of complex and you really don't want to see your audience's eyes glaze over. We're calling it the GPS summary.
We've all been on the receiving end of that detail-first approach, right? Someone just starts dumping a mountain of facts on you, and it just leads to total confusion. The alternative is this solution-first approach. The GPS method starts with the big picture, which keeps your audience totally engaged, and, more importantly, it actually drives things toward a real outcome. So the method is basically a simple map: goal, problem, solution. You start by stating the goal. Our goal is to improve company operations. Then you identify the problem, but our current system is causing major delays. And finally, you propose the solution. Implementing this new software is how we're going to fix it. See? It creates a clear story that anyone can follow. Now look, it's really important to get this. This isn't about dumbing down complex topics. Not at all. It's about structuring them so the information is accessible. You're creating a clear path from A to B, from problem to solution, which makes it way easier for people to understand and, this is the crucial part, to actually do something about it. Our third and final tool is all about social awareness. You can have the best framed, most perfectly structured message in the world, but if you deliver it at the wrong time, well, it's just not going to land. And that's where the smart check-in comes into play.
I mean, we've all done this. We walk up to a colleague, we've got something urgent on our mind, and we ask that seemingly innocent question. Hey, you got a minute? We think we're being respectful, but honestly, it's often the first step toward a total communication disaster.
Because that minute is never a minute, is it? It turns into 10 minutes, then 20, and before you know it, you've completely derailed your colleague's day, you've created a bunch of frustration, and you might have even dinged your own credibility. There's a much, much smarter way to do this.
So here's the smart approach, the 2-step smart check-in. First, you do a time check. You get really specific. Hey, I need about 10 minutes to discuss the budget. This respects their time and sets crystal clear expectations. Then, you add a validation checkpoint. Are you the right person for this, and is now a good time? This simple step makes sure you have the right person's undivided attention.
Okay, so there you have it, our 3 tools: the framing formula, the GPS summary, and the smart check-in. Now, let's put it all together and see how this awesome little toolkit applies to your everyday work life.
So how does this actually work in the real world? Well, for an email, think of your subject line as the context, and that very first sentence as your intent. For a meeting invite, just state the purpose and the goal right up front. If you're giving a presentation, open with a quick summary of the context, the goal, and the problem. Heck, even for a quick instant message, just state your intent before you dive in. You can see how this simple structure adapts to pretty much everything you do.
When you get right down to it, when you consistently master that first minute, you're doing so much more than just communicating better. You're building a reputation as someone who is clear, who is respectful, and who is incredibly effective. Every single interaction becomes more productive, and that saves a ton of time and energy for everyone involved.
And that brings us to the end. So I'll just leave you with this one question. I want you to look at your calendar for this week. Which meeting, which email, which important conversation are you going to choose to transform by totally mastering that first minute? The power is officially in your hands.